people are freaking out about what's about to happen when it comes to YouTube right now.
I'm worried about my channel, about my livelihood, because of a little big thing called COPPA.
YouTube is fined $170 million for collecting children's personal data. Big oopsie. Very large oopsie by YouTube.
I really need you to watch this video because it's going to impact a lot of creators, especially when the FTC starts coming after creators.
Now it looks like it's affecting everyone, every single person on the platform. It's pretty nuts.
I do believe that this regulation is going to cause more harm than good for kids.
And I'm going to tell you what they're not telling us about COPPA. As of January 1st, 2020, thousands of YouTube channels are gone. Yours may be one of them.
Second, creators need to know that this could impact a lot more of us than just kids' channels.
That's right. People are freaking out when it comes to COPPA, what the FTC did to YouTube, and how YouTube is regulating. So today we're going to be talking about that. What is COPPA? We're going to be talking about the FTC and how they're regulating on YouTube and how it affects you as creators. But more importantly, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the tips and suggestions for you to actually navigate through this to make the most of this chaotic mess, but capitalize on the opportunity that a lot of people are not talking about coming up.
YouTube Secrets is out now. Learn the strategies of today's top video influencers in this step-by-step YouTube success playbook. Get your copy today at tubesecretsbook.com.
Welcome to Video Influencers. My name is Benji Travis, and we're helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online videos. If you guys are new to this channel, consider subscribing. We have videos just like this every Saturday morning, and we have tips, interviews with dope creators on this platform. So make sure you hit that like button and comment below. Is this COPPA thing going to be affecting you? Do you have a kid audience? Do you have a channel that's maybe got a mixed audience? Are you afraid of the fines? We're going to be getting into all of that right now. The one thing I want to mention first is I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice. I suggest you seek your own legal counsel because I don't want you guys to rely on me for making these big decisions around what COPPA is all about, what the FTC is doing on this platform. So that's a quick disclosure. But what I can tell you is I do take this very seriously. I've been looking at it just like so many of creators, so many of you who have been afraid of what is about to happen here in 2020. So I do want to share what I've observed and what I think you should be considering when it comes to strategizing through this COPPA law. So the first thing I want to mention is what is actually happening. See, YouTube is full of so many different creators and so many different viewers from all walks of life. Specifically today, kids. Kids are watching tons and tons of YouTube. It wasn't intended for people under 13, but they're watching. They're grabbing their parents' devices. I know my kids, they watch on iPads. Sometimes they'll grab my phone. They love YouTube. And this was not something that parents or even YouTube ever thought was going to be a thing, because YouTube originally was just this silly website where there was cat videos, people sharing pranks and just, fun clips. And then it became this big thing that we know of today. So the reason I bring this up is it actually got noticed by the FTC, and they actually feel that this law, COPPA, is actually being broken, and that's why all this craziness is happening. So the first thing I want to mention is, what is COPPA? So the first thing is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act is what we're going to be talking about today. And what that is in a nutshell, it's a law to protect kids online, their data, their privacy, from the bad people, from the creepers. Unfortunately, it's also going to affect advertising, because what was happening is their personalized information was being collected by these advertisers through Google AdSense, and that was being used to have personalized ads to them. And the FTC deemed this as a big no-no, and that's why they slapped this huge fine on YouTube, $170 million. And obviously, even though for someone like Google, it might be a drop in the bucket, but they take it very, very seriously because it literally could be the beginning of many, many more fines. And that's what everyone's freaking out about. This is why people are wondering, what's going to happen to my livelihood, my business, my revenue, because this is a serious thing. But let's talk about the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. Their job is to uphold this law, the COPPA law. And they're the ones that slapped the fine on YouTube. And this little clip kind of explains how they look at creators when it comes to content creators on YouTube putting out content for kids.
And if the FTC is bringing independent piecemeal actions against content creators for violating COPPA, that may discourage content creators from posting content on YouTube. So the analogy that I think of, imperfect, is the expression about shooting fish in a barrel. And YouTube is the barrel, and the content creators are the fish. And so it's a place where this content is centralized, and essentially it's easy for us to find.
Shooting fish in a barrel. That's pretty harsh, but that's the reality. And I believe that clip, and I'm sure he never thought that clip would go viral, but that is, I believe, the source of all the drama, all the emotion, basically all the madness, because shooting fish in a barrel and YouTube being the barrel and the fish being the creators is a big deal, especially when you consider the fine being up to $42,000. That's a lot of money. I don't know of any creator that could get slapped with a $42,000 fine and not take it seriously. In fact, that's probably one of the number one reasons why people are so scared and literally quitting YouTube, or they're completely avoiding the whole kid content question, which I believe is a huge mistake, because the reality is this: you can literally get a speeding ticket, right? You can go 100 miles per hour or 160 kilometers per hour and get a lower fine for that than you would if you break this COPPA regulation, which is nuts, right? But it is definitely something to take seriously, and YouTube has taken it seriously, and this is why it is a big deal. And I believe some of the other clips that YouTube has shared is the reason why people have so many questions about what is going on. The number one thing I think everybody needs to be clear about is what they're regulating on specifically. And they're specifically regulating content for kids, content that kids are watching, that is intended for them. And I guess the biggest question mark is, what is considered for kids content? And let's play a clip from Lauren from YouTube, who put out this official video talking about what is defined as kids content.
Just because a video may be safe or appropriate for everyone to watch does not mean that the video is necessarily made for kids. What's important is who you're trying to reach with your videos. According to factors laid out by the FTC, if your video has actors, characters, activities, games, songs, stories, or other subject matter that is intended for a children's audience, it's likely made for kids. If not, it's unlikely that your content needs to be marked as made for kids.
There you go. And we're actually going to put the links to all these videos down below, or we'll have a playlist at the very end. But these videos that YouTube is putting out, especially this one that was just put out recently on updates around this topic of COPPA, is really important to watch, because everybody got all crazy and got worried about what's going to happen based on the first one. The update that was just put out a few days ago really clarifies a lot of things. But I think her words really are something you need to listen to consider if your content is made for kids. But the thing that you need to realize when it comes to kids content are the things that are going to be affected by this. If you decide to define your video or your channel as kids content, first off, when it comes to your video, you're going to lose some functions and a huge opportunity. Number one, personalized ads will not be a thing that you can have through Google AdSense. So it's huge because that could be like a 90% drop in your AdSense. Secondly, comments won't be available. So engagement is gonna be much, much lower. End screens and info cards also will not be utilized on those videos that are marked for kids. This is a big deal because obviously the engagement piece is huge because that's how you get feedback about your content, what people like, what people don't like, how they can kind of support you. But even the end screen and info cards, that's how you promote other content that you have. That's how you get people to watch another video, which is so important to the algorithm. But the number one thing that everybody's worried about is losing personalized ads. And let me explain this. So right now, when Google ads run on your videos, there are personalized ads that are based off of the information they gather off of you as a viewer. So those ads are very valuable for advertisers. But they also have general ads, which aren't based off of that data. It's just a general ad like you'd see on TV, where you're going to lose the personalized ads if you have a video that's for kids content. That's a huge deal because some people are saying your AdSense revenue could drop by 90%. On the low end, maybe like 25, 30%. Again, it's going to differ from channel to channel. So that's a big deal. Now, secondly, if you mark your channel as made for kids, there's even more functions that you're going to lose. Let's just take a look at them. Number one, Stories is going to go away for you when it comes to your channel if you mark your channel for kids. And actually, we have a visual here that I want to show you. Secondly, your community tab won't be available, which really is a bummer because that's one of my favorite parts of YouTube right now that I actually think has a lot of reach and a lot of people aren't utilizing. Third, the notification bell won't be a thing. And lastly, your viewers won't be able to add your videos to save, to watch later, or any playlists. So these are huge functions that you're going to lose if your channel is marked for kids. I'd say like between the AdSense and all these tools that you won't be able to utilize, these are the reasons that people are really freaking out about when it comes to what COPPA law is doing to content creators who are targeting kids. Now, let's get into the next the section, which is what is important to focus on and understand when it comes to all of this. So I think, a lot of people are wondering, how do you define like what's made for kids, what's not made for kids? And it all stems from one word: intent. What is your intention for creating this video? Are you creating content specifically to entertain a kid, for a kid to view? Now, there's a lot of you that are questioning, what if I have a mixed audience? For example, my wife and I were vloggers, and we know that our content is not made for kids. However, some kids are watching with their parents, right? Maybe some kids are just into our life and what we do, and they happen to watch our content as a kid. So these mixed audiences, I think that's what's important. But I want to play a clip real quick from Creek Craft, who recently went to the FTC because he's worried about what's going to happen to his channel. And he actually got some really great feedback that I think is really important for you to hear when it comes to what the FTC is regulating on when it comes to content on YouTube.
They are not going to bankrupt creators, okay? It's not going to happen. They're not going to be fining people $42,000 per video. Even in YouTube's case, where they were violating COPPA left and right, they weren't fined $42,000 per violation. There's actually an amendment, and I'm not sure if this is what they're specifically talking about, but they specifically mentioned that they can't do, like, unruly punishment. So, like, the punishment has to fit the crime. So they can't, fine you $100 million if you make $2,000 a year. Like, obviously that's just not going to fly. You can go and look at the previous violations and the previous fines that the FTC has given out. And they're all against really big companies too. Understand that they are not going after the maybe not cases. They're going after the clear cut violations of the law. Context matters. This is the big thing. The context of the video matters. You can have a Dora the Explorer parody that is for adults, and you can have a Dora the Explorer parody that is for kids. It's the context of the video that matters.
You should think about factors like
All right, so,
the subject matter of it.
let's actually get back. All right, so Thank you, Creekcraft. By the way, I want to mention, even though he's kind of dressed up like a lawyer, he is not a lawyer either. And his advice or his experiences have no legal backing. But he did go to the FTC. He went to Washington, D.C. because he is also worried. The reason I love that little clip and some of the tidbits that he was sharing is because ultimately the FTC isn't going to be regulating on every single video. Like, it's impossible for them to do this. And this is why we're going to get into why the algorithm is really important for YouTube. But also their intention is not to be the bad guy for creators. They just want to protect kids and uphold this law called COPPA. They want to protect kids' privacy and their information. And like I mentioned, that $42,000 fine is ridiculous. And it's really not fair for the action or the mistake you could potentially make. But still, it is something you want to take seriously. Now, we talked about intention, which is really important, but then the next question is, how do you know if you're targeting kids? Like, what defines targeting kids? How do you know that your content is going to be thought as considered for a kid audience? And again, let's hear from Lauren, the official person at YouTube that put out a video on this topic about how do you consider your content for kids and targeting kids.
You should think about factors like the subject matter of your video, whether children are your intended audience for the video, whether the video includes child actors or models, whether the video includes characters, celebrities, or toys that appeal to children, including animated characters or cartoon figures, whether the language of the video is intended for children to understand, whether the video includes activities that appeal to children, such as play acting, simple songs or games, or early education, whether the video includes songs, stories, or poems that appeal to children, and any other information you may have to help determine your video's audience.
Thank you, Lauren. I love those videos, especially the recent one, because it really is clear that this isn't as big a deal as people were making it. It is a big deal, and it's the law, so everyone has to take it seriously. But as time has gone on, there's been much more clarification. So again, what is your intention, right? How are you targeting kids? And then what's the context of the video? I think the context conversation is really important for people that have maybe general audiences. Who are you really targeting ultimately? Not who are potentially watching your videos, like a smaller percentage. Now, if you're putting out content, and even if you're saying it's made for adults, but like 99% of the audience is kids, then it's pretty obvious that should be marked made for kids, right? But I think those of you who have maybe you're creating content like Dude Perfect, I think is a great example, because everybody loves those videos, right? Of any age. And I understand their questions are valid, but again, what is your intention? What is the context of the video, and who are you targeting? Now, this is the thing. YouTube is not going to just leave it to you. The responsibility is on you as a creator to properly define your content and make the right selection when it comes to the settings, but they're not going to just trust you to do it. And I can tell you that the algorithm is already working at this. In fact, for the last month or so, the algorithm has been designating for you content that is for kids, that they think is targeting kids. And it's interesting because this is kind of a fail-safe. Let's use my wife's channel, It's Mommy's Life, as an example. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of different videos, but there's a few that's been designated by the AI made for kids. And so again, those are going to lose those personalized ads. Now, one thing to know is this channel is made for adults, is made for parents, right? People that can relate to us. But once in a while, we put out these videos that are just like cute, fun videos of our kids. And it's a platform for us to share some of these videos, never thinking like this would be an issue. Notice something about the thumbnails. They've got pictures of kids in it. So again, we talked about the algorithm, and the kids are in the thumbnail, and the algorithm knows this. I think that is really important to point out, because we didn't designate those videos as for kids. Even the fact that the kids are in the video and it's a cute video, we intended that video for adults, for parents, for people that follow us, because they're so invested in our kids. You know, they're part of our life. So we knew that it would be entertaining to them. But still, the algorithm pegged that out for content for kids. So not just the thumbnail, the actual video itself has kids in it, right? Maybe the theme. So a lot of those things that Lauren was mentioning, again, you got to watch those videos by YouTube because it really does clarify a lot. And we'll put links to all the different resources. But the reason I like sharing that is because the algorithm is already working. And I wouldn't look at it as something annoying, because this is the thing. If they improperly designate your video, it's your responsibility to properly designate it. However, it's something to observe and learn from, because in the future, this is how YouTube is going to regulate for you when you're not regulating yourself. Because again, the responsibility and liability is on you as a creator, but also on YouTube. They are the ones with the deep pockets, right? So they want to protect the platform and protect themselves. All right, the next question is, what do you do, right? So the world's ending, my AdSense is going away, or at least the personalized ads. You know, I'm going to lose all these different functions. What do I do? And we're going to start with the basics. Define your content, define your channel, the community you're trying to reach, and ultimately, what brand are you creating? Now, this is not new. You know, if you've read YouTube Secrets, the second chapter in that book, which by the way, we'll put the link down to that book in the info box, is clarity. Clarity is so important because it influences everything you do. And in this case, who you're targeting, right? What is the community you're trying to build? Are you trying to build a community of kids, or are you trying to build a community of another group of people? And that's why people, let me back it up a little bit. One of the reasons people have these mixed audiences, it's not the only, and I'm sure there's different variations of this, is because the kid audience is amazing. They watch a ton of videos. So I know there was a lot of vloggers, especially family vloggers, that started having kids, and they're making content that potentially was entertaining for kids. And then they kind of shifted their attention to creating this kid-like content, stuff that would entertain these kids, because they were getting millions upon millions of views, literally tens of millions of views in a month, and which was great for the AdSense revenue. However, that wasn't really their brand, right? And so they built this mixed audience. They've got parents watching, they've got the kids watching, they've got grown-ups, they got the teenage, whatever, because they weren't very clear on who they're reaching out. I'm not saying it's good or bad to be for kids or be just for adults or mixed audience. I'm just saying in this case specifically, you want to be even more clear who you're targeting. So ask yourself, what is your brand? What is your channel going to be about? And ultimately, what are your videos, and who are those videos for? Because then it helps you with the next step, which are the settings, okay? And so YouTube is now going to be asking you to properly designate your videos and your channel. But let's again hear from Lauren, who describes it perfectly when it comes to your settings in YouTube Studio.
You can set your audience at the channel level. To do so, go to Settings in YouTube Studio, then the Channel tab, then Advanced Settings, and from there, go to the Audience section and choose an option that best describes your channel. Doing this at the channel level will apply to all of your older videos too. So we encourage you to set your audience at the channel level as a first step. From there, if some of your videos don't align with your channel level setting, you can mark your audience at the video level. To mark your older videos as made for kids or not, go to the Videos tab in YouTube Studio, select which videos you'd like to edit, and go to Audience. You'll also be prompted to answer this question every time you upload a new video. On the Details tab on the video upload page, scroll to Audience and choose the option that best describes your video. Note that if you've already set your audience at the channel level, this will be automatically selected for you. But make sure to choose the option that makes the most sense for that specific video.
Thank you, Lauren. Lauren, did you ever think you'd be on Video Influencers? Because you are. Anyway, so those settings are really, really important. Again, it all stems from that clarity of who you're targeting, what your content is about, what brand you're trying to build. And so, if you set your channel for kids, obviously there's a lot of things that you want to consider that's going to ultimately affect your channel. But I believe, especially like what Craft said, some of the things I'm experiencing and things I'm hearing from other creators and observing is, I think you'll know if you're creating content for kids. And ultimately why this setting is important is because a lot of you are like, do I have some kids watching? Should I say made for kids? This video seems like it could entertain kids, but it's ultimately for parents. And what is important is, are you following the rules and not abusing this setting, right? That's what the FTC is going to look for. That's what YouTube's going to look for. And in the beginning, you're going to actually have to set all this up, okay? So those settings are really important. And remember, you don't just do this from here on out. You have to do this for all your past videos too. So if you're a vlogger like myself, you're going to have to look at a lot of videos. But if you know clearly that you're targeting parents or grown-ups or people over 13 years old, I think it'll be very easy for you to hit that not made for kids function on your channel level. The third tip I have is start diversifying yourself. Again, nothing new. Right? This has always been the case. You want to make sure that you don't put all your eggs into one basket. Number one, when it comes to monetization. So of course, the big question is how this is going to affect my business model, losing personalized ads, because generalized ads aren't as profitable as personalized ads. So you're going to have, this is why building a brand is important, because if you build a brand, especially if you're a kid channel, that brand could become something you license out to different manufacturing partners, or you could create your own product line. Working with brands is going to be a huge thing. So make sure you diversify yourself. This is something that's happened many, many times. An algorithm change. This one's probably one of the bigger ones, especially if you're a kid channel, but it's again, nothing new. And this is why not relying on one source of income is really important when it comes to being online, being on YouTube and social media in general, because you're at the mercy of these changes and you've got to prepare for them. You almost have to expect them. So monetization one. Secondly, platforms. Obviously kids are watching YouTube, but they're starting to watch other places. So if you're a content creator for kids, TikTok is a huge place you need to be on. But, no matter what channel you are, if you're watching this because you're just curious, you should be on Facebook. You should be on Instagram. You should be on Snapchat. If you're in a businessman, entrepreneur, LinkedIn. You want to diversify yourself off of YouTube. This is coming from somebody that not only wrote a book about YouTube, but loves YouTube and actually calls himself a YouTuber. I do believe that one way you buffer yourself from some of these crazy changes is you have other outlets to reach your audience. Building an email list. One of the first goals that Sean and I had, weirdly, when we started our YouTube channel was like, hey, we're going to build an email list from day one. Just in case the channel got shut down or the algorithm completely changed, we were still able to connect with you guys. So same thing with you as a content creator for kids. Diversify. TikTok is huge right now, and kids, as they get older, they are going to be watching content on there. They are right now. Lastly, I want to mention is a few other tips that I think are really important for you to hear from me when it comes to all of this. Number one, people are quitting YouTube right now, so there's this huge opportunity. Take advantage of the fact that people are leaving and you might be one of the ones that are doubling down. Secondly, brands, they still need to advertise. So brand sponsorships, I believe, will become even greater and even more of an opportunity that people can capitalize on now. Third, there's going to be new opportunities, ones that we don't know of. We were talking about how general ads are still going to be played. These are like the commercials for TV shows like the Super Bowl, whatnot. Those are going to get more profitable. Those are going to be more valuable because that's the only option advertisers has. Lastly, kids still want to watch quality content. They're still going to be watching YouTube. In fact, I think one of the things that's going to blow up is the YouTube Kids app. And, the fear here is based off of monetization lost, but what it can tell you in the beginning of YouTube, why it was such a good time to start YouTube is if you were in this platform in 2007, 2008, when there wasn't very much monetization, brands weren't taking creators seriously, is because you capitalize on the small community that was here on the huge amount of attention. So as people quit because they're not making as much money, the attention of these kids, it's not going to change. Like their viewing behaviors. I can tell you, my kids, they're not only going to continue watching YouTube, but they're probably going to watch more YouTube. And I believe that that is the case for years to come. So make sure that you don't quit too abruptly. I know that it's hard for me to speak to this because I don't have a channel that's based purely on kids, but what I can tell you from experience and learning from history is that as people are scared and they're running away and they're quitting, that there's going to be huge opportunities for the people that stick around, that stay here, that want to make the most of this this change that's happening. And it's not all doom and gloom. So last thoughts here when it comes to COPPA. Obviously, we want to protect kids. It's a law. There's no getting around that. YouTube is taking it seriously, and the FTC is going to crack down not only on them as a platform, but you as a creator. But there's so many things you can do to navigate this properly to make the most of this opportunity. So, there you go. Let me give some shout outs to people who are on here. Again, let me know where you're watching from. Influential Vic TV. Good job, bro. Thank you. We've got Shelbo99. Glad to be here. Sparks Family TV. Always love having you. Love the support. And yes, and you say, and we will still be here. We've got Simply Beth. Heather, the reseller, again, I already said hi. She asked, what is TikTok? TikTok is this new platform that kids are using that you should definitely check out if you're a content creator for kids. Okay, you guys, hit that like button. Make sure you pick up a copy of YouTube Secrets, where we're helping you build your following. We're helping you crush it on YouTube. I really, really suggest you go to Amazon or Audible. If you do get YouTube Secrets, make sure you leave us a review. We love it when we get that feedback. And share this video with anybody else that might be affected by COPPA. All right. If you guys want to see the interview with Jeremy Johnson, click or tap the screen right here. If you want to see all the videos we're referencing in the playlist, click or tap the screen right here, because there's a ton of great videos, not only from YouTube, but other creators I think are really valuable for you to watch. I will talk to you guys later, and keep crushing it.